this offense this year. What is giving you the confidence to be that vocal leader?
Yeah, it's just being able to dive in more into the details. I'm not thinking as much about necessarily what I have to do and all of that. It's more what's the defense doing, and how can I adjust and get the ball out faster. How can I adjust and make checks to the line and things like that.
You said you spent a lot of last training camp wondering if Ben Johnson even liked you. I think it's safe to say that you know how he feels about you now. Talk to me about y'all's relationship and moving forward, how much you want to make him proud.
Yeah, you obviously, when you get a good coach and you get a good teacher, you want to make them proud. You want to be able to go out there and execute, and that's what he is. He's a great teacher. He's been helpful for me, and being able to, I came to the NFL to learn more about football, to be a professional, to all these different things, and so he's been a great stepping stone for me, and we want to keep this going and just keep getting better as myself, but also as a team, and I think a bit there trying to support them. So it's been really fun. It's been really encouraging, and my goal, interception. My goal for us as a team to be as close knit as we can before everything starts rolling, and a big piece of that is the young core that we have.
Well, I'll let you celebrate now with your team.
One thing Bradbury talked about with Caleb, not only does he just love and is obsessed with football, but he's so competitive, even playing bowling recently. They were out on the bowling alley, and Caleb has to win at all costs, which we saw in the fourth quarter of more games than we've seen in a long time last year with these Bears.
All those comeback victories,
all
they
those
stepped
comebacks.
up. And Garrett Bradbury is a huge...
it's kind of when, as a coach, especially Ben, who wants his offense run his way, it's kind of, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. They're gonna, you have to coach that position hard. And I credit Caleb. He's like, hey, half the time I thought he was mad at me, but he realizes that the coach is coaching him hard because he knows he can be great. He knows how good he can be. And thankfully, Caleb didn't take that personally. He accepted that.
Trust in the fact that off schedule, Caleb can own it.
He's proven that he can.
Yeah. Ben used a timeout to reconvene, and then this is going to upset him.
Offense number 80, 5-yard penalty, third down.
When you get a penalty after a timeout, and Kadir Ismail, who comes from the famous Ismail football family, of course, Rocket Ismail and Quadri was one of my favorite players coming up, and very cool to see Kadir on the field right now, but that's going to upset Ben Johnson. Penalties after a timeout.
Yeah. But I just think to further that about Caleb, all the complaints about the completion percentage, that's all going to come now. These plays are going to become rote memory. He's in charge of it all. He's in command, and he will be a more consistent quarterback in the first and third quarters going into 2026 than he was a year ago, first year in this offense.
Little Moss was looking for Ray McLeod up the sidelines, and Bears let the punt it away.
Don't you think, too, Jim, that when you are sort of this generational kind of quarterback in which you have 69-70% completion rate, it's going to be a little different for a mobile quarterback like Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they'll cater to his skills, too. You're going to get more bootlegs, you're going to get more waggles, you're going to get more quarterback sweeps because he's so athletic and what he can do.
I feel like the kid that can run already has the decisive advantage in the baby race. So good on you for your development, kid. It is Dylan Gabriel in at quarterback now for Cleveland. Stop on Sanders made by Jamri Chroma. So Gabriel kind of gets pushed to the wayside, as you talked about. Rookie last year, 1-5 record. Remember, he set all sorts of records in his multiple stops in college football. 2 seasons later, a draft pick or 2 later, in your third string.
Yeah, he's somewhat cast off, and he can run. He's got a very strong arm. People forget his jugs machine. His arm was stronger than Josh Allen's of the Buffalo Bills at the Combine. This guy can absolutely hose the football if he wants to and when he wants to, but he's been kind of just a cast aside during this quarterback competition in Cleveland.
I really feel for the Cleveland fans because they've had 13 different starting quarterbacks since 2020, which is the most in the National Football League. And this carousel they've been on is wild. I mean, we saw Joe Flacco for them last season.
That carousel, you could extend that all the way back to the start of the Super Bowl era. And certainly when Cleveland relocated back as a new franchise in the late 90s, nobody has had more quarterbacks used than the Cleveland Browns, and that's been a common theme going back to the late 1990s. The Bears have been through similar circumstances. They went through a handful of quarterbacks, a lot, of QBs since the
Colston out of Michigan, the receivers that they brought in, DJ Moore, the receivers they have now. You look at the Bears earlier, even in my time, from drafting Cade McNown to Rex Grossman to other players, you've got to support the young quarterback. You've got to get players around him for them to grow.
I think this is the most times I've ever seen Bears practice move indoors to the Walter Payton Center.
Weather's been just ridiculous the last 2 weeks.
But Adam, they've gone from grass to turf,
yep,
to turf to grass to grass to turf. That's wear and tear on the body. And so I don't think with some of these injuries we're hearing about, they're ultimately too concerning because there's some discomfort when you're moving from grass to turf.
Sure. On your days ago when he had an injury in practice. 3rd down and long for Dillon Gabriel, the left-hander. He's got time, and he overthrows his man. That's 2 for Beanie. Beanie Bishop Jr. looking for another opportunity, and a couple of floating passes just find themselves in his hands.
That's just
Caleb sat out of that game to prep for the draft, but he was still on the sidelines, and he wanted to watch his buddy Miller Moss go to work in that bowl game. Jasmine gave us that great story yesterday in our meeting, and he stood in there and delivered to J.P. Richardson after he got hit by Benton Whitley. Go to the 20 if the kickoff goes from the 50-yard line due to penalty or otherwise. Moss has that batted, and it's incomplete, 4th down.
Do you
think changes this year? I'd want to be in control of it.
I'm with you, buddy. 49-yarder from Santos extends the lead to 3 scores.
I asked Bill Belichick, talking about how Bill Belichick keeps the flag in his sock. If you've ever noticed, right, the red flag is tucked down below on the lower leg in his sock. And I said, you know, I'm a reporter, so I'm going to go ask the question. Bears
will then go to the other Queen City in Charlotte for the opening game of the regular season. They'll have one game in Nashville against the Titans, who will be a very interesting group in the 3rd preseason game. New head coach Robert Saleh there. Not much room for Devon Booth as James Lynch is there to plug up the hole. He has been an impactful player along with Chroma today up front. So some of the guys on the 2nd and 3rd line of the depth chart are making an impact.
Extremely accurate. You know, a cover 3 in different instances, and certainly a lot of disguise pre-post snap. Although nobody really shows a whole lot in the preseason anyway.
Of course, and I imagine Robert would be the same way. It's an interesting AFC South. Does Jacksonville regress at all after their fantastic? I think of the Jaguars so similarly to the Bears defensively.
Trading for Myles Garrett, but don't sleep on that Houston Texans defense. It's been championship caliber for the last 3 years.
Nowhere to go for Gabriel, and Jamry Chroma is having a fabulous afternoon in Chicago. He is right there to put him down on the deck for another sack. And it's we looked up his measurables. Apparently the guy benches 450 and back squats almost 700 pounds. That'll do it. What a punt by Bojorquez, sending Caden Davis all the way back near the 10. And a good return by Davis to get back to the 30-yard line. Well done to make up for that boom finish. 11 for 15 after the 2 for 7 start, Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent is something else. I mean, I think Jeff Joniak brought it up, how similar he is to Ben Johnson. And the comparison in terms of the intensity and having a backup quarterback like that if you're Ben Johnson. And Bagent took it as a compliment, but he also told us that Ben Johnson ripped his heart, and that's certainly what Ben can do with his backup quarterback.
He wants the position run the way he wants, and it's nothing personal. He just wants you to operate this offense the best that it can be.
Did I bleep myself okay?
I thought you did a very nice self-censor right there.
Thank you.
That was very well done,
I
thought.
Thank you.
There were no bleeps. We didn't produce.
Locked in on the offense, but he didn't want to overstep what Dan Campbell was doing. He didn't want to overstep his bounds. Here is a nice delivery for the tight end, J.P. Richardson, and off that screen, he's able to take it into Cleveland territory. But Ben was so mild-mannered in our